There are other techniques that archaeologists use for remote sensing to try to uncover the location of sites. This is like the Pomeranian from hell, but looks like anyway. But no, it's infrared photography. So whatever's hot will show up brightly. So the eyes and the mouth, ears, they're more bright because that's where heat is radiating from the Pomeranian. And so you can do that with the surface of the soil too. So you can actually see a Roman villa here, but that Roman villa is 4 feet below the surface. What you're actually photographing is heat, not light. And it has to be taken at a particular time of year. I think this photograph was taken sometime in October or November. It's when the air begins to cool. And so underground you have stone, the stone that makes up the walls. In between the stones you have loose dirt. Well, which holds the heat longer, the solid stone or the loose dirt? The solid stone will hold the heat longer. So the whole ground heats up during the summertime, but then as it begins to turn cool in the fall, that soil will lose its heat rapidly, but the stone holds its heat longer. And so at a particular time, you can actually take a photograph of that heat that's rising directly to the surface, and you can measure that heat pattern on the surface, and it will show you where the walls are. That's what you see here. So they haven't excavated one spadeful of dirt here, but they know where everything is in that Roman villa. This is a big courtyard. That's an interior courtyard. These are separate rooms. There's the apse, part of a sacred room here with an apse and so on. It's an airport. You see the plane here? There's the wings right here, and that's the fuselage, and that's the tracks of the plane at the surface. So they've taken a photograph of a runway of an airport, and there's a Roman villa underneath. That may be the reason the runway's there, right? Because you got a Roman villa under it that makes it nice and firm for landing and taking off, using these remote sensing techniques. This is Troy. It's called Hisarlik, the ancient site of Troy where the Trojan War took place. This is the citadel or the fortress. All around it there are villages and settlements that are part of Troy. They've excavated Troy itself. They've been excavating it for over 100 years now. They haven't excavated around it, even though there's a few places where they have soundings, so they know there's stuff there. But using another technique, remote sensing technique called a gravity survey or a magnetic survey, they can see the streets and all the different structures underground. And so it's just measuring the difference in magnetic resonance as they run magnetic fields through the soil. And they can, using different areas, they can piece it all together from the surface. And sometimes you can just use photograph. This is just a plain old photograph of a field, but you can see the walls just based upon the changes in plant. It holds more moisture, so you get darker green plants. So certain times of year, you can see large structures just with aerial photography. Same thing here. See it? Structures. And that's just how the plants are growing at the surface. This looks small, but this is actually a large Roman city. That's the city wall. This is a theater. It's like Pompeii, but it hasn't been excavated yet. It's near Venice in Italy. This is just a map. That's a map that they've drawn from the infrared of the city. You see what I'm talking about when I began the lecture? The amount of material still there to excavate. This is a whole Roman city just waiting to be excavated.